Talk to retailers right now for Christmas.
Oh my
Talk,
God.
it's not the same.
Well, we'll
There's
see what happens. We got Christmas and Boxing Week, but you know who
It's not the
wants to.
same. People are right now already starting to talk about this being one of the slowest Christmases they've had on the retail side.
So, but last time they cut a half a point, it was considered an emergency rate cut, right? And everybody was concerned about the dollar and the dollar. It. I don't think it did very well after the last half a point rate cut, and
Hasn't been
then
doing well for a little while.
for a little while, and now we have another not emergency half point rate cut, just like, par for the course right now. We're going to ease into the recession that isn't really here with another half a point
Look,
interest
if
rate.
they're cutting, I remember when they started talking about it going down to a quarter instead of a half, and everyone's got their own opinions. I stopped guessing on the rates, by the way, after the first time I was wrong.
Yeah.
But basically, what it's telling us is that they still feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on out there in the economy. And the unemployment rate, I think, is probably your biggest issue. But that's basically what the Bank of Canada is looking at. And they're saying to themselves, hey, this economy needs a little bit of extra boost to it, and that we're not going to be worried about inflation anymore because they got inflation down to 2% in most cases, and that they're going to be watching
Sure they
obviously
did.
core inflation, but they're going to be watching the unemployment rate and seeing exactly where the market is because they need to make sure that people, spend. Talk to retailers right now for Christmas.
Oh my
Talk,
God.
it's not the same.
Well, we'll
There's
see what happens. We got Christmas and Boxing Week, but you know who
It's not the
wants to.
same. People are right now already starting to talk about this being one of the slowest Christmases they've had on the retail side.
I wonder what people did with inventory leading up to this, if they kind of thinned it out this time or if they were stupid and they loaded up, and that'll make things interesting.
I
But
don't
you know
know.
who
What do
has
you what do
something to
you
say
do?
about this, TK?
Tell me.
Mark Morris has something to say about
Hey,
this
Marky
very
Mark,
topic.
how are
Yeah,
you? Bring him on.
let's go.
Hey guys, all right, let's go for this week's rant. And this week's rant has to do with interest rates, because why would we talk about anything else on this week except for interest rates? Of course, biggest news, 50 basis point reduction. What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, keep in mind, first of all, that you're listening to a lawyer, so any of the advice I give you about this can be jettisoned out the window because, I know as much as the next guy here. This isn't legal advice. This is just general market sentiment. But I do speak to a lot of people who are in pain. And the 50-point basis drop is significant insofar as, it's going to help people with variable rate mortgages deal with that acute pain and everything else. Having said that, if I take a look at my Facebook feed, and yes, it's incredibly embarrassing that that's my feed. My social media feed is Facebook. I'm approaching 50. It sucks. I wish it was TikTok or Snapchat or something else, but Facebook it is. If I take a look at my Facebook feed, I see a bunch of dancing realtors talking about how the good times are back, and I just don't think that that's the case. I don't think a 50-point basis drop is going to have that effect. And the reason is because we haven't divorced ourselves from the effects of the last bubble. The last bubble seriously went ahead and broke apart the traditional relationship that exists between house prices, Canadian house prices, and Canadian income. And Canadian house prices are still vastly above what Canadian incomes should be able to afford. And yes, this dying government is trying everything they can to make your dollars stretch further and allow you to be more in hock to the banks through CMHC programs and amendments and everything else. And that's all true, but the fundamentals remain that people should not be affording $2 million homes on Canadian incomes of $100,000. They just shouldn't. I mean, that's an extreme example, but it's not totally abnormal. We see that all the time. How they qualify for a mortgage is something else, but still, that's the reality. And so dropping 50 basis points is helpful, but I firmly believe that the reason that people were investing in Canadian investments towards the end, towards the 2021-2022 cycle, was not because they could afford it, not because it made fundamental sense, but simply because, as with all bubbles, people realized that things were going up, and as long as they got out before the bubble popped, it was an investment that they were ready to risk. I don't believe that anyone thinks that that bubble is coming back in any significant way, though lowering interest rates is obviously going to help with some demand. And as a result, the investor class isn't coming back, and it's the investor class that was booning the markets to unprecedented heights. And so I feel pretty confident in saying that this interest rate decline is going to have some positive effects, to be sure, and is probably more than necessary given where that Ontario's economy is in the crapper. And it doesn't help that we have an American administration that is seemingly looking at Canada and saying, we're going to come at you with a baseball bat. All of these things provide for economic uncertainty. But beyond all of that, there is the fundamental point that we are still divorced from Canadian income in the form of our housing prices. And until that changes, we can't really enter into another massive rally in the price of real estate. And so let's temper those expectations. This is much more of a wait and see approach. And smart money is really on saying, okay, well, this will probably have an effect, but how much of an effect, to be sure? And certainly, anyone who's sitting there saying the good times are back, well, I would be very cautious of those folks. Of course, those folks are usually on Twitter anyways, and excuse me, on TikTok anyways, and don't necessarily see Facebook as the appropriate channel to actually be doing this. Look, that's my rant for the week, and I'm curious as to what you guys think.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our clips channel. Why don't you go and check out some more clips? We got lots of other good content somewhere over here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.